Freshman. Again, he's not in the starting lineup. So as we take a look at the DXL starting lineup, we see the point guard that transfer, Justin Bibbins, out of Long Beach State, the dangerous three-point shooter, and Cedric Bearfield. Tyler Rawson is like a Swiss Army knife. He does everything very, very well. And David Collette, this means a lot. He is from Utah State originally, where he began his collegiate career. A couple of talented guards, Kobe McEwen and Sam Merrill. These two players, only sophomores. They can, when right, dominate the game. They need presence in the middle. So can a guy like Dargington or Brown get it done? Folks, we are certainly glad to be tipping off and getting going with this Pac-12 action. The Beehive Classic, the Beehive State Industry. So important here in the state of Utah, and these are two hardworking teams. 224 all-time meetings, but of late it's been Utah State who's done very good things. Since 1996, Utah State has done very good work, actually leading in this series. So it's interesting that they come back together. This is their first matchup since 2010.
Well, of course, a lot of that was Coach Stu Morrill, the legend down in Logan. He did such a great job down there for Utah State. Retired at this point, new coach for Utah State in Tim Duryea in his second season. And, it's going to be interesting to see. This is where the game is going to be won or lost, inside the paint, although we see Lawson early on from deep.
Oh, that was pretty. He awaited the pass. They really collapsed on the transfer, David Collette. That opened things up for Rawson.
Yeah, and I meant to say, sorry, it was a mistake. It's his third season, Coach Duryea. But as I said, this is going to be the bigs of Utah versus the guards of Utah State. And we see right there Sam Merrill, a terrific player for them. Their top scorer, their top assist player. Here we go.
Great student in the classroom, Merrill, as well, as we mentioned, just a sophomore, averaging 15 points. And averaging 3 assists per contest. There's Coach Duryea. You were talking about what he has done, and obviously in his third year, 35 victories as a head coach at Utah State. And assisted 6 times he went to the NCAA tournament. He worked under Stu Morrill. Yeah, unable to get things in the paint going, and a miss there. Back the other way, Dargington with the miss.
Yes, certainly worked with Coach Morrill. Was there 14 years as an assistant, and we see Collette right away, kind of a statement move early on, right from the wing, from the elbow, excuse me. And this is going to be interesting, Darren, because, again, he left there. Nice backdoor cut. We'll see a lot of that from this Aggie team as Brown Jr. knocks one in from the perimeter. But we talked about Collette was at Utah State, played his freshman year, started every game for that team, and then the following year transferred 2 days before their first game. So it was kind of an acrimonious transfer split there. We'll see what kind of energy he has. I think it's going to be high all afternoon.
Talking to Larry Kristoviak at shoot around as the shot clock is at 10 about the focus of Collette this week. He said he's not just focused because he's taken on Utah State. He's focused as Rawson will go to the line, and finishing the thought on Collette, he's focused because he didn't play well at all against Butler. He's more angry about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And you see Collette here just being aggressive. He didn't score a point 34 minutes into that Butler game. Collette did not, and he's their leading scorer. He's the guy that this entire offense really should run through. He's their most dynamic scorer inside. He's sort of a play for them. Larry Kristoviak, in his 7th year, loves to coach the big man, a great big man himself. In fact, he was coached by Stu Morrill himself up at Montana when the head coach was Mike Montgomery. He said Morrill was his big man coach.
Yeah, he was the big man coach. Talked about the scrimmages they would have in the summertime when Stu was still lacing them up and playing with his players. He said, I hate to say this, but he was so competitive. Even though I was a young player, we almost came to blows a bunch of times. You love that, though. You love it. He said, I learned one thing from him, and that's compete, compete, compete. Great swing into the corner after penetration. But coming up empty is Sam Merrill. Merrill, by the way, shoots pretty well from distance, 59% on the year. As Collette with the miss off the mark. Check that, 20 of 59, 34%. Not quite as good as once advertised. McEwen, short. Bibbins tried to force that one, turnover.
Well, I like the pace of this game early. Both teams going up and down. Utah State sometimes will slow it up in the half court, but they love transition. In fact, Coach Kristoviak talked about Sam Merrill and this team and their squad getting back on transition, a big thing. They like to score early, Utah State team, and then on the other end, Larry Kraskowiak wants his team to get out and run. They want to get easy buckets, not get into this half court, and challenge that Utah State Aggie great defensive team.
There's that Swiss Army knife I was telling you about, right? Although he's already knocked down a three, he may have a stat line. Talking about Rawson that goes 2 points, 4 steals, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, right? I mean, he's just unique.
Yeah, he's a guy that, and when he plays big, they really play well because he spreads them out from the floor. I'll tell you the most amazing statistic for me is what he does from the assist statistic. One of the better passers as a 4-man in the Pac-12 for sure.
Barefield penetrates, lid on the bucket, comes up empty. They're talking about Rawson and those assists, nearly 4 per game for Rawson. Standing at 6'10" this season, number 21 in red. Steps out on Brown Jr. That one turns it back over the other way. Dwayne Brown Jr. averages 7 points a game, but he's had some big games this year. Not only with regard to rebounds, but assists. There have been big assist games as well. He had a game earlier this year for Coach Jury with 13 points, 15 rebounds at Portland State.
Well, he's a skilled guy. They wanted to get a skilled guy from a JC. They went out and got Dwayne Brown Jr. And he actually talked about his favorite player being Charles Barkley.
Undersized rebounder.
Yeah, undersized rebounder. So the toughness of him came out as well. So skilled and tough. And that's the combination he needs because, as you said, both of these bigs for Utah State, very undersized.
Collette takes it from Beeler. He's got a couple of bodies on him. Doesn't matter. That's what they wanted right there against Butler. He didn't find that second gear. He's got it tonight.
Well, Dargington down low. He's 6'8", but he's only 205. And you look at Dargington and Collette took advantage of that right there. Dargington actually came in. There he is on the post. And look at him just sort of get pushed back. Collette takes his time. Didn't really need so much as a move as just, I get position. I'm just going to jump over you. And you think about the Dargington kid. He came in as a 3. They moved him to a 4 last year. Now he's playing the 5. So certainly out of position.
Coach Jury makes a big decision. Clay Stahl comes on and quickly doles out a foul. The freshman out of Arizona. Clay Stahl stepped on to help defensively. And right away, again, he was a man without a country, and Collette took advantage.
Well, and look at the energy after the make. Look at the position, how low. He finishes over contact, and look at his energy. Slams his chest a couple times. I don't think I've seen that out of him this year one time. And again, I think it's a combo. This is his old team, Utah State, but as you pointed out, Darren, I think more importantly, a bad game against Butler, a tough game in their loss against UNLV. He's come to play.
He felt embarrassed on national television. We all watched it wherever we were, and that's the pride of a player. You had your great games, many of them, but you also had your games you wished you couldn't wait to get to the next game, I'm sure.
Well, and I think, Utah State, if they didn't know, knows it now, because you can tell he's ready to roll, and they're looking for him as well. There's your Swiss Army knife.
Rawson.
He got fouled.
Yeah, nice job doing the best he could. Kobe McEwen coming back defensively. Already they've been opening things. This is a passion, this sport in this state, and this Beehive Classic, a wonderful opportunity to showcase that passion.
It really is. That's a great description of it. They love college. They love their pro team, the Jazz. Obviously here a huge fan base. And you look at these programs, Utah State, a terrific history. You go way back to the 70s. They had an Elite 8 where they almost were hanging with John Wooden, the UCLA Bruins. Always had a Final Four in the back pocket. Wayne Estes, we showed him really the greatest player in Utah State history. Keith Van Horn, of course, the greatest player in Utah history. A lot of the legends, and you look at the coaches. So an interesting, really exciting matchup.
You think about Utah State, they are regulars at the NCAA tournament. There's a quick turnover, another opportunity. Look at that lead pass from Rawson. A couple of quick steps then to his left.
That was just sick. That was so nice. I didn't think he would get to the left. I thought he might finish on the right side, but I think because of the little fumble, that's what forced him to take that extra little lean. That was a big time. You talk about hands, guys. They have great hands. Look at these hands right here by Rawson. When he catches, a great catch on the move, the little nick right there on the arm, and then finish on the other side. That's beautiful.
Deangelo Isby is onto the hardwood. You see him there, number 0 in navy blue. averaging 11 points, 4 rebounds a game. It has been a revolving door. I think it needs to be pointed out off of Coach Dure's Utah State bench. It's been a revolving door. He's looking for answers.
Yeah, he really is. And you look right now, this team got punched in the mouth. Here's the next 4 or 5 minute stretch. What can they do to get back in this game? This is a solid team. This is a team that hung with Gonzaga earlier this year. You know, they've played some tough opponents, and they've beaten some good opponents. They just beat Irvine at home in a tough matchup. But right now, they look really out of sync, and a lot of it has been Utah on offense. They just haven't recovered from the barrage on the offensive end from Utah.
And it's the Collette barrage. If you're scoring at home, it's Collette 7, Utah State nothing.
Yeah, that's and credit to Utah for going to him, because you knew he was going to come in pumped. But as a big, you're only as good as guys throwing you the ball.
Banged home inside that NBA 3, but folks, that is a triple and a beautiful shot. Justin Bibbins has had a really nice year, shooting almost 40% from 3, averaging 11 points and 5 assists.
Well, it'll be interesting. I wonder if he thought that was the college line, because he wasn't sure of the line. And I think when these college players play in a pro arena, 2 things happen. One is, and we see right there, a long, nice jumper did not go there from McEwen, but I think we see these guys. You see that 2 things happen. One is sometimes they get confused where the line is, and then I can tell you what I did as a player. I wanted to shoot an NBA 3 because I didn't play in the NBA like our guys back in the studio you know, in the big time league. So I wanted to hit a 3 in college. I took a couple from NBA arenas, and we'll see that sometimes. But I think Bibbins there was unsure where the line was.
Donnie Tillman has checked in. Need to point that out right away. The freshman out of Detroit via Las Vegas. Boston's having a heck of a night. He and Collette are just clearly the presence in this contest.
And Rawson is doing it every which way. We've seen the drive to the rim, the 3, and then that move right there. I mean, he's upped his game since we saw him last week.
They have 16 of Utah's 19 points combined. It swung into the corner. That's got to be a positive and feel good for Quinn Taylor, the junior, the Texan, who drains the triple.
A tough kid, a guy that had some heart issues last year, overcame that, came in off the bench, and a tough cover as a stretch forward for them.
He had 8 points, 6 rebounds, had a couple of triples against UCI in the victory last time out. What have a night. I mean, have a night. That's a 3 for Tyler Rawson. Folks, he's got 12 points.
He's on fire, and it's not, like I said earlier, these aren't buckets that are just easy. These are in the flow, shooting 3s, doing it on his own.
Utah draws a whistle. Here's Tyler again. Averages 9 a game.
You know, he's been a little quiet the last 2 games. I like that jumper. Sometimes on his jumper, I think he fades a little bit. He tends to sometimes end up short when he misses. Those 2 that he took right there, a lot of confidence and a lot of legs into those shots.
Tillman whistled for his first foul. So Collette sits down, 7 points, 3 of 4 from the floor. In 7 minutes of play, Van Dyke will come onto the court. Parker Van Dyke, a nice depth role player, the junior out of Salt Lake City East High School. We told you last time, when Parker has a good game, his team wins. When he has scored 10 or more points in his collegiate career, Utah's perfect. 9 times in 9-0.
Well, he's obviously a guy that stretches the floor, handles it, can really shoot it. Has not shot it well this year. And we see another knockdown right there from Taylor. I mean, he came in and has really lifted this team with those last 2 buckets.
22-5, and you can add to that tally 22-8 after the 3s. Jace Johnson, high energy big, is on out of Southern California from Utah. Went to Santa Monica High School. 6 points already for Taylor. They needed this.
Again, stretch 4, big kid, strong, and you just see right there, I think Tillman digging too much there. Got to recognize that Taylor's a shooter, and not only that, he just hit the bucket before. So you really got to be on him and recognize who your guys out there are on the 3-point line.
His teammates last year, as the season wrapped up, speaking of Quinn Taylor, voted him, and I'm sure along with the blessing of their head coach, as the most inspirational player on the roster. That's an honor when your teammates say that about you.
He played 1 game with some things actually on his heart. And that's how tough the kid is. And they were monitoring that because they were concerned, obviously, medical issues. And you see him back right there.
He needed that, didn't they? Good to see Parker Van Dyke. Just 4 of 22 from long distance coming in. You can make it 5 now.
And that feels so good as a player when you're struggling. You knock one down. You knock one down here in a pro arena on top of it. And this Utah team really has not shot it well all year. That's kind of the one thing. As you see Taylor now just having his way out there. But Utah, as a team right now, you mentioned Van Dyke and how much he struggled, Darren, from downtown. And this looks like a zone. They went into the zone and just didn't cover him. Just didn't get out on time. And we've talked to other coaches that say, I know Van Dyke's shooting a low percentage, but he is a shooter. He's going to start making shots, and it's our job to get out on him. They just didn't get out on that time.
As a graduate in 2012, he was this state's 4A Player of the Year, averaging 25 a game. That's how good he was. Taylor has 7 points in this one now. He drops in the free throw.
They look loose on offense, Utah. They just look, and I know a lot of it is shots going in, and the other side they're not, but they just seem like they're playing with a much, I don't know, just looser sort of attitude today. I don't know, maybe that stems a little bit from the loss on Tuesday to Butler.
Certainly weren't happy when you speak of the way that they played. Coach Dury, knowing as he prepared for Utah, they would be a better team. Larry made it clear. We missed 11 layups. We turned it over a bunch. It was a 5-point game with 3 to go, and I'm quoting him. It's not confusing what we've done against UNLV and Butler as to why we've lost. It's quite simple. We missed some open threes as well. And he summed it up.
Yeah, and they turn it over a little bit, too. I think the one area, I mentioned the threes. The other area this Utah team could get better at is offensive rebounding. They tend to run back. They have usually one guy in, but they need to crash the boards a little more to get back in transition.
Beeler, a bit firm, bangs off the iron. He has had big nights from long distance this year already, though. 20 points against Mississippi Valley State with 6 of 8 from three-point land. Steps violation. Still a strong start to the night for that man. 17 and 6, a sophomore and a junior respectively. Great athletes. Looking forward to, again, more teams from the Beehive State battling. You can catch that one on BYU television. 15-point Utah lead. Boy, skip pass, long distance, long three off the mark. Off to the left, that struck by Parker Van Dyke. Van Dyke dropped in 30 three-pointers last year as a sophomore. There were plenty of makes at his 5th of the year earlier. But Isby just forced the issue. Deangelo out of Chicago.
But if you're from Chicago, you need to know how to score. That's what Isby is. A guy can really get going, charismatic guy. Call him D-Lo. That guy can score. They're going to need him right now because they need some punch on the offensive end.
Caldwell, great pass to Jace Johnson, turns it into a bucket. Johnson, the sophomore, and he is a big contributor, but that doesn't happen without Colby Caldwell's pass, a fellow sophomore.
Yeah, easily broke that penetration right there. Not good defense from Utah State. Good catch by Johnson. Looked like he was going to fumble it at first, but recovered. He's really evolved, hasn't he, as an offensive player? I mean, he's a nice player right now.
Well, it's Taylor's night. Thanks to Taylor, they're in the contest. That's 11 points. As he drops home another 3 again. This play by Quentin Taylor is coming off the bench. Langham Creek High School in the Houston, Texas area. All Houston area player. An answer back. Johnson. Averaging 7.6 rebounds a game in his career. I'm going to go per 40, though. Yeah. 14 points, 14 rebounds per 40. Not again. Almost. Isby with a second chance. Wow. He's been the other smaller story for Utah State. Both players off the bench, big contributors.
Well, what I love about Chase Johnson on that shot that he had earlier, this actually Isby on this. We talked about him being from Chicago, a scorer. And you can tell those are sort of unorthodox moves down it. Not just a jumper, easy open jumper. He's making things happen. A guy that gets points and buckets early.
First foul on Caldwell. Isby shooting 90%, just a tick under 90%. He's 30 of 34 from the line this year. He's been to the line 34 times, and he's made almost all of them.
Had a monster game this year at Valpo. so you know he's got it in him.
Funny how that works out. Had a monster game with Valpo. Valpo's about an hour from Chicago. A triple. Parker Van Dyke with his second three. Remember, he had 4 all year coming in. That's got to feel good.
I almost think this Utah team, you think about the schedule they had during Thanksgiving and some of the games, they seem like their energy level is way up from the time I even saw them last week. We're getting an offensive foul here.
That's exactly what we have. Back the other way, pushing. Looked like Perry was whistled for the foul that time. Collette's back into the game. David Collette. Perry's first foul, 17 foul, whistled on Utah State. Go into the bonus. Go the Utes. Right back at you. And he took advantage. Caldwell took it right back from David Collette, who had bodies all around him, and dropped the triple in.
Well, he knew they were going to double. They doubled from the baseline. I didn't think he was going to see it, so good recognition, really vision by him to see there Caldwell in the corner. Obviously, he knew where Caldwell was, but to see the defender.
Rito, offensive foul. There have been a lot of things done right for Utah. Let's see this one.
Yeah, he forced the action there. Collette was just sort of sliding down. It wasn't a classic just standing in the lane. No restricted area issue. And I think a good call there.
And Duryea will debate that, your point, and the call as well. None too pleased with how things have started, though his squad has started to pick up the pace a bit.
But I think they need to get Sam Merrill going. They're their #1 scorer. Utah's done a great job on him. He needs to get things going.
Feet got too busy for Collette.
Yeah, that was another good call right there. Obviously, one of the things, the emphasis this year on traveling. Didn't do a jump stop and then dribble. Tried to do it all at once.
The plan is to be a tournament team yet again for Utah. Anything else would be a disappointment. Deangelo Isby for 3. His 14th three-point make on the season. Wabash Valley Junior College, Hillcrest High School in the Chicagoland area.
And what a contribution this bench has done. When you think of Isby, you think of Quinn Taylor, what those two have done. The game will be over.
Rawson off the mark that time. 19 bench points. 19 of the 21 have come from the bench. Isby has it hammered by Collette.
I wanted Isby to shoot that.
Look at the big man run the corner.
And look at him talk to the crowd, too. He's got a ton of energy tonight. He was running earlier, had a couple of them that they didn't get to him, and you love to see the big man rewarded.
6 feet 10 inches tall out of Murray, Utah. Collette, as Taylor pulls him out of the paint defensively right now. That hurt, man. They got to get going. You're exactly right.
Do you know how often a big man runs and does not? He really made his point on every point, kind of dominated what they need to do, got in, got out, and to this stage, only 3 turnovers. That's been one of the areas. I mentioned that before. Say it again, they're turning the ball over too much this year. And I think part of that is a 5th-year senior with Bibbins. He's playing the point guard. You've got new guys on the team that you're trying to work yourself into as the leader of the team. I think those numbers for this team will go down.
Rawson with a couple of free throw makes has 13 points in this contest. 13. And you can add with that drop in 14 in 12 minutes of play. His career high is 20.
He's better than I thought. He's really played well early.
With his length there.
Wow.
Rito missed the easy layup. Boy, great job by Diogo breaking himself free, the young man out of Portugal, but he couldn't convert. Is there such a thing as 2 open?
That is, but he makes up for it right there. It said he's really long. In fact, we were talking to the SID, said, I don't like sitting next to him in the plane because his arms and legs are everywhere. But you saw the length there on that steal, trying to get to the rim again, and turns it over.
To Caldwell, gives it up to Beeler. Beeler converts. That was a walk through the park on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, nice job by Caldwell waiting there. Sometimes you can throw it and get it back. The other option is to wait. Got picked up at the end. Nice job dishing it on the ground there off the floor.
It's a 6-0 Utah run.
Backcourt.
And more frustration, more turnovers. Coach Duryea's squad.
Now, nice right there. You see Caldwell got the steal. Then did a good job. Was patient. Waited until Merrill committed right there and then got it off to Beasley, who's normally a three-point guy, getting to the rim.
Revolving door, more substitutions. Just looking for the answer. Utah State.
At this point, you're just looking for a combination that can maybe get on an 8-2 run or something like that to kind of close this thing to 13 or 14. That was another good call.
Here's the key, and you talked about it coming on the air, and this is what Krzysztofiak wanted to have happen. Kobe McEwen and Sam Merrill, the sophomores. The outstanding guards for the Aggies are a combined 0 for 5 from the floor with no points. 2 turnovers, 2 assists.
I mean, you got to credit Larry Krzysztofiak and his defense for scouting that, understanding that.
And literally, where would they be without the work of Isby and Taylor? Taylor drops home the triple. They each have 11.
Chilo's on fire.
I like that, D-Lo. How'd you get that out of him?
While you were listening to shoot around, I was walking around interviewing guys. So it's a good team.
Streaking along the baseline, Colby Caldwell with the bucket. Out of Warren Central High School in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Caldwell, the sophomore.
Caldwell's played nice tonight.
Adam close, Collette will grab and give it. He'll send Bibbins on his way. Line him up and wear him out, but don't turn it over. In the words of their head coach. Just a thought on Deangelo Isby as he works there defensively. There's Caldwell.
He's had a nice game. I mean, just made a lot of good decisions. Is the thing I've noticed from him so far.
Isby with those 11 points to finish the thought on his trip to Valparaiso, a little bit more than an hour from Chicago. Why did it sound like and feel like his entire family was there? He's one of 9. Oh, give it up! Come on again!
He's going to get it again.
Skip pass. No second chance there. Collette hanging back a little bit. 43-24. Utah, 7 of their last 8. Prior to that miss, 7 of the last 9 now from the floor. Nice job stepping defensively by Beeler because that was a beautiful pass. But a turnover.
Well, it's interesting, and you see the block here by Collette, and a guy that's not a big shot blocker, but there he is. Freshman year.
Well, he played a ton as a freshman. I mean, he really earned a ton of time for Stu Morrill on the hardwood, didn't he?
He did. And he was a big-time scorer for them. Second leading scorer. The talent right away.
13.5 rebounds, 31 games his freshman year.
That's the one area there. Good rebound by Collette. To see his numbers rise in the rebound category, I think will really help this team. And look at that post up by Collette. Physical post up. Coach K likes that.
The win, by the way, for Utah State over UCI, they were dealing with bigs. UC Irvine has some presence, but not equal to that of Utah. Beeler with the miss.
And that entire play was set up by Collette, really running, rim running, charging hard in the middle of the lane. You see the large there. And then that opens up that shot on the baseline because they all collapse.
An aggressive play.
Salt Lake City was gorgeous today. Sun out. See Collette right there. I mean, just the energy of this Utah team to me has been the key. Their attention to detail. You mentioned it earlier, Coach K, detail coach. In fact, he even says, great saying, that there are no little details. You know, they're all big, they're all important. And I think they have shown that today.
He knows in his conference everyone else can recruit too. And everyone else has talent too. So how do you win those extra games when they're making decisions for the tournament in March? Beeler That's an NBA three attempt, by the way. And Johnson will go to the line like a bull in a china shop. Jace Johnson, busy day, by the way, in this conference. Tough one in overtime. Michigan beat UCLA. Cal with the win over San Diego State University. Big game, Washington State and UTEP. Alabama, Arizona tonight. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Oregon State. We'll have that one for you. All that and more coming up on the State Farm Halftime Report. They're getting things set at our network studios in San Francisco. A big fella. Shooting 70% from the line. Seven points, 11 rebounds as Beeler sits down.
I think Jace Johnson could be a guy that if he can get his minutes up, you know, he could just come in and literally get 5, 6, 4 or 5 offensive rebounds every game. Those would be converted, I think, into 5 or 6 points if he does that, and then he could score a couple more here and there. He's a 10-point, kind of 6, 7 rebounded guy. If he can, you know, stay out of foul trouble, get the minutes, and defend like he's doing right now. And then he gets beat.
He gets beat right by him. To finish the thought off Johnson, he had those 7 points and 11 rebounds in 13 minutes against Hawaii in a recent win. But
well, and he came out on that closeout just way too high. And of course, there's a reason he did, and that's because Quinn Taylor has been knocking everything he can from anywhere on this court. So he had to respect it. I understand that. So I respect that. But on closeouts, to me, closeout was the hardest thing to do defensively as a basketball player, especially at this college level. You have to come out with incredible energy, speed, but very low, and understand you could get beat on the drive. And that's tough for anybody, especially tough for a big guy.
Taylor's got 14. His career high is 16. He is well on pace. I mean, well on pace. It's in the first half of this contest, just about at the 2-minute mark. Matt Muehlbach, Darren Sutton, glad to have you with us. Beehive Classic, game 1 in this one. It's BYU Weber State, game 2 of this contest. You can catch that on BYU TV.
Well, that kind of sums up the first half for Utah State there. They had 2 guys on it, fumble it out of bounds, and just a frustrating half for this Aggie team.
Under 2 now, trying to find an option. Able to find that option 5. Head coaches love that, don't they?
Well, and I'm thinking about what you just said earlier, right? Larry Kraskowiak talking about turnovers, but they were the turnovers that they were responsible for. Unforced turnovers. I think of tennis players and unforced errors, and that's kind of been what they have done on these turnovers.
My goodness, Taylor with the triple. As he drains that one in the first half, that's a career high.
Maybe the Jazz should draft him just to play here.
What an incredible night for Quinn Taylor, the Texan. 10 times he scored in double digits last season. Off the mark, maybe, just maybe, there's a bit of a run. 6-0 run in under a minute. Nice. Beautiful pass to Taylor, who will go to the line. Wow,
this is crazy. I was going to, I mean, if you look at the slip there. He slips that screen. Johnson cannot catch up. I didn't think he fouled him on that, but watch Merrill right here. He does such a good job finding guys, both of those plays, and we'll give Taylor the credit because he's finishing. He's had a superb first half, but Sam Merrill has incredible poise. He's a 2-guard, yet his assist to turnover ratio is so good.
Quinn Taylor, his LDS mission was to Brazil. And the sharing and the controlling, taking care of the basketball, Sam Merrill, without scoring tonight, is starting to do the little things very well as they'll get together our officiating crew to take a look at the clock. Don't forget, coming up, thoughts on the first half. Certainly Cal wins a shocker, we were saying, against San Diego State. Colorado had their hands full, and Xavier was a little bit too much for Tad Boyle's squad. We'll show you the highlights. State Farm halftime report. Michael Greenstein, Tommy Nunez, and Greg Nixon, by the way, our officiating crew, doing a great job tonight. 45-33, 9-0 run, Matt.
Really nice. I don't think
So I didn't mean to shove you there, but I'm shocked.
I thought it felt great.
And that'll frustrate you. Duryea frustrated by that one.
Now Taylor's calling his old playoff thing. Great recovery. I think Caldwell, when he caught it, you know, when you're a guard and you catch it right in the middle of the lane, your first instinct is to look around and say, where is everybody? If he had just caught and went to the rim, he would have been in. There was nothing there. The hesitation is what allowed Taylor to get back into the play.
He was wide open. It's like standing in front of the refrigerator trying to figure out exactly what he wanted to snack on.
You see a lot now with those moving screens. Russell thought he got pushed on that play right there. I'm not so sure he didn't, but there wasn't any movement. You set these screens nowadays. You really have to set it, and you can't, get the little chicken wing out either with your leg, your shoulder, your elbow. You've really got to set and stay. That's why it's up to the guard to do a good job coming off those screens. Not just the screen, but the screen. A good ball screen is a two-way street, both for
Brandon Evans, the senior guard, went for 18, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see. In fact, I got a monster game coming up in a few weeks. ASU starts their season at Arizona in Tucson on the Pac-12 network.
Good seats not available for that one. Not available. Key call of a timeout by Coach Duryea. He wants to make sure that he sends his team to the locker room with 2 more points. They're on a 9-0 run. Wow, late whistle and a call, and certainly that's more than the doctor ordered. A quick jump there by Tyler Rawson. He'll have that one hung on him.
That was right in front of us in our line of vision. I couldn't tell initially if he did hit him. So here's the deal on the call. That is a call a lot of times I look at and say it's not a foul. But if you look at the rule, any sort of contact, whether it's incidental or not on a shooter, when he's shooting a 3, that's the rule, and it's a good call because it is a foul.
The run is now 10-0 to head into the locker room. The last 2+ minutes, trying to make it a 12-0 run. Let's see if that will return.
Butler had a 13-0 run against the Warriors last Tuesday.
And by the way, for Perry, those were his first points of the year. How about just ice water in his veins, dropping those 3 in?
Going to him at the end of the half.
Started earlier against BYU, has just played a couple of games. They've gotten him healthy. He was playing in game number 96, Perry, in his career, so it's not like he's a brand new man to this situation. Another 10, here they go. That's a top pick. But because of the bonus, there will be a chance to go to the line.
Let's see here. They maybe took one more step. There's the foul. That's pretty darn close. That could have been an and 1 there. When I first saw it, I thought it was the right call. It's close.
He'll still get his 2 free throws. Yeah. Obviously, double bonus. It was not a foul in the act of shooting, though. Evans will shoot a pair. 3 points, 5 assists, make it 4.
Well, and the big thing there is Larry Krskovic. He didn't like the call on the other end that did not go their way. And then on this end, it was another close one. And that again didn't go his way, so not happy with 2 in a row.
12-2.
Hey, there's your answer. Instead of my long-winded answer, Quinn Taylor is the answer.
That's all right. Taylor for 3. Not again. Short. He has had an incredible night. Never had a collegiate.
Number 1. They're 2 guards. We thought those guys might have an advantage, might be on the scoreboard. They have not scored yet, those 2. Let's see if they come out of this first half, or the second half here, and run a play for one of them.
Both outstanding sophomores, they nearly turned it over. As Maryland held on to it. Yes, such great hands, takes wonderful care of the basketball. One of the best in the nation last year as a freshman. Collette with another block.
A good call there. They were looking, Utah State looking for contact. But I thought Collette got the ball that was coming up.
And that has been a big key for him, what he has been able to do defensively. He's got 3 blocks alone in this contest. All right, Sam Merrill with the triple, the sophomore guard who averages 15.
And they ran that play for him out of bounds. A lot of times you'll see the first play out of bounds, sort of a screen to the shooter. That play they threw it to somebody else, and he came off the screen there on the flare, and Bivens went under on that flare, gave him too much room.
Bivens somehow found Beeler, but he got busy with his feet and turned it over.
You see the out-of-bounds play here. Actually, they throw it to him, and then he's going to throw it back. You see him go on the wide side there, just a simple screen. He uses that screen. Again, he's got size. He's 6'5". You know, Bivens 5'8", maybe 5'9". So, and now you see the change there. Bearfield going back on Merrill.
Merrill with 8 straight double-digit contests. Those 3 points, again, his first 3, just to remind you. Left bodied up, and it cost him. He didn't like the call.
See, and this is, I know, oh man, he didn't do anything. That was a push-off, if anything. I thought his hands were straight up. And I don't think the refs have missed a call tonight. I really don't. And Collette makes up for it.
Stop, then pump. Oh, look at that athleticism.
That's hard to do, to stop when you're running full speed, especially for the big man. Don't do it, Collette.
11 points for David. By the way, that was his first foul, so he's fine in that area.
You know what that shows, too, from Collette? That's something I know Coach Krzyzewski wants to see, is a call not go his way and then come back with something, some spice on the other end, a steal and a bucket.
McEwen still looking for his first points. Bearfield penetrates. Bearfield has it pay off. Bivens with the 3.
Right, he did such a great job, Bearfield, that is, right there, avoiding that charge, sensing someone was going to step in front. And then again, Bearfield there goes under that screen, and Merrill's going to burn if they keep doing that.
There he goes again. Collette flashes with the basketball, streaks to the bucket.
And you see the patience there in the first half. He traveled on 2 plays just like that. That time, he got his feet under him, jump stop, was patient, and then went aggressively to the rim.
David Collette has 13 points. He is 6 of 7, 6 of 7 from the floor, and he's got 4 block shots now.
Would you call this, Darren, the stop and pop? Great job keeping that left foot, pivot foot there. And then on the other side, you see it kind of collects, then get the ball on the floor before you travel, big man. Great job by David Collette.
He's a different player, isn't he? I mean, just a different player, and he has a lineup well.
Look at those numbers when they win. And, you know, you hate to put pressure on him, but the reality is he's their one big. He's their guy. I mean, he's at least because he's good. You don't get the pressure if you're not good, and the pressure means that when he plays well, they play well.
Yeah, he is a pro prospect, to say the least, and that's the kind of pressure that needs to be put on him. The league wants to see that kind of pressure on him.
Definitely.
Shot clock expires. Collette in this contest, 13.6 rebounds. We mentioned those four block shots. 54-39.
See how easy Maryland plays with the ball. He's really, really smooth.
Taylor with a shot at a 3-point play. Collette tried to take it, couldn't get there in time. The great night continues for Taylor. He's got 22.
This is a restricted area. I don't know if we'll see it on the replay, but I think both feet were in the restricted area. Tried to get him out of there. That's a great call by the ref.
And over his shoulder, David Collette to the official, letting him know that's the right call. You could read his lips. He's a smart player. He knows. Doesn't mean you don't take that chance.
I don't know if I would have said that knowing me, but
I understand.
I credit Collette with that type of, that ability. I don't know. I lose it. I lost it on every call. I was a wild.
I understand. Fair enough. At least you're honest. We appreciate your honesty. Colette's got some big things in his life that are going to be changing as he fades. Thought he might have been bought. Not just his opportunity to maybe play at the next level. Taylor again. Well off the mark. Stone. Taylor couldn't follow it. Boy, the crowd came out of their seats. Barefield with the miss. A little sloppy. 4 minutes have disappeared in the second half. 13-point Utah lead.
And this is where I feel like Utah got things going in the first half when they were running up-tempo, got things moving. Utah State slowed them down a bit. That looked like an offensive foul before that. Like he pushed off with the left arm.
That's a frustrated McEwen. There's no doubt about it. Life-changing professionally. That's nothing compared to fatherhood. Congratulations to he and his wife.
Congratulations. That's big time. There's a turnover again. Unforced error. Out of a timeout, too. You know you're going to run a play for someone there. Miscommunication.
Instead, turns it into something. Well, that was a basket of lemons and suddenly a glass of lemonade.
That's a good call there. Looked like Colette got the tip there. Recovered enough. I thought he might block it, but he got his arms in and tried to bring him back to show the ref, but they were inside. Good call. 3 for him.
Colette sits with 3 quick fouls. Johnson comes on the court. He had a couple of quick ones early. You're fine when you make that move. Colette sits with 13.6 rebounds and 4 blocked shots.
Right, and here you go. Utah State. Down 10. Down 11 right now. Big part of the game. Colette goes out. Utah State down 11. Where do they get the scoring from Utah? Now they go zone. With Colette not a problem in the middle down there in that zone. Where do they get their scoring from?
Clay Stahl with his first points, earning this playing time because of his size. Redshirt freshman out of Arizona. Looked like they might have gotten Isby with the whistle that time. A smile and a wry look of disagreement.
And I wonder here, this could be the Donnie Tillman next 5 minutes. He has not scored.
Right.
We talked about him on the Open having his career high the last 2 games. Had 16 last week against Hawaii, had 20 against Butler on Tuesday. A dynamic, terrific freshman. And I could see him making some action here against this zone. If they go back to the zone, getting the ball in the middle and making things happen.
He's a presence. He's an offensive rebounding machine as well. And that's the key, not trying to do too much. He hasn't seen much time to build up confidence in this game.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you look at the no points, maybe feeling like he needs something good to happen. He got the ball in the middle, and he turned and faced. I thought he was just going to take it to the rim, make something happen. I think that's what his teammate thought as well.
Takes Tillman to school, takes advantage.
Isby's had an incredible game.
13 points. A pair of rebounds, and again, Isby, his career high is 18, came in averaging 11. One of 9 children at home, the Chicagoan, one of 9. Bivens running the elbow, that was pretty.
You know, we talked to Tim Duryea, the coach for Utah State, was so complimentary of Bivens. I always think it's fun to talk to the other coaches about other players on their teams because you really see what they see on tape, and he really spoke highly. Wow, look at that right there. That patience right there in the lane with a guy on him. That was gorgeous.
Clay Stahl takes advantage of that pretty pass. Stahl out of Basha High School, just outside of Phoenix, Chandler, Arizona. Had some big games for Basha. Big games along the way. And he's getting his chance now. Quick up with that one.
And he dominated his position down there before the catch. And then there was contact at the catch, and then he was able to gather and knock it in with the left.
Kind of quietly, 8 points. Here's Chase Johnson again. He's got 8.
Yeah, he's a solid backup, and you forget sometimes he's 7 foot.
Bivens strips that one away. He got Perry. And a quick turnover, trying to get it back to Bivens. Isby all the way with the lane.
Well, and all of a sudden down 9 right now, hanging in, and 4
for their last 4 from the hardwood for Utah State.
And probably the biggest thing from Utah State right now, confidence. They had none of it in the first 7-8 minutes, and now all of a sudden a lot of it.
Short. Bivens with the miss. That was his first 3-point miss. He's 2 of 3. Isby with the second gear. Quick kick. All the way to rim. Bang! Steve Merrill with the 3.
Timeout here. You can just see
Merrill with 6 points. He's got 4 assists, so he's helped in that way. Turned it over just once again. He's got glue in his hands as far as taking care of the basketball. Has since he stepped onto a college campus. Again, a perfect 5 for 5 run for the Aggies from the hardwood.
Well, it looked like they were running a backdoor play right there for Donnie Tillman. He did a good job selling that, and because I think he beat Perry on the wing, Perry held him.
Second personal foul on Perry. Julian, who hit 3 big free throws, Julian Perry, as his team headed into the locker room. One of the reasons that his squad came out with the pep in their step was number 5 on the back of that jersey.
And this will be interesting. The middle was open that last play on the zone. They just throw it back out.
Waiting for Tillman to get going as he handles the basketball. He has not attempted a field goal or a free throw.
And the zone has frustrated Utah a little bit. They've not knocked down. They just haven't been able to get the ball in the lane against this zone to get it inside.
A long 3. Shot clock was disappearing, obviously, to Bearfield. Nowhere close. The sophomore and the junior, you can catch all that action on BYU television. Excited, we'll hang around. Matt and I are going to hang around, have a snack and a beverage, and watch that game. Just as fans, not often we get to do that. Looking forward to it. But for now, we've got a real good one here. Nearly a shot at a 3-point play, but Dargington, Alex got busy with those feet. Somehow didn't travel. The senior forward out of France.
Boy, isn't it crazy just the confidence of it? Look at this guy down low. Wheeling, dealing, having fun right there coming out of the timeout. Another foul on Collette. That's 4, correct? It's 4 on Collette. That is 11. See, what do we have here? 11:42. Was wondering if Coach K would take him out. I think so. I think at this stage you got to take him out. You're winning the game right now. They could cut it to 4 here, but you're still winning. Too much time to keep him in. I think you look at score, time and score, and you figure out when to bring him back in. And it might be Darren, or might be right around the 6-7 minute mark.
Dargington with his first 2 points can help so much in the rebounding front.
So we'll look here. Utah up 4 right at the 11:42 mark, and we'll see what they can do to hang on.
Without a point in the last 2 minutes, and that just changed to triple for Bearfield.
Well, and that took some guts because Bearfield just launched one. The shot clock was coming down 2 possessions earlier. Shot it 4 feet over the rim. He didn't have his feet under him when he did. And that one to step up and knock one in as Utah was really struggling to get anything going. And that was just really a simple pass that was pretty contested from deep.
By the way, Sir Cedric, those were his first 3 points of the game. It has been a quiet game for Bearfield, who averages 10. And just about 3 rebounds, 3 assists as well.
I feel like he's the X factor for this team. I really do. He's a guy that can have huge games, has had big scoring nights, and has had the opposite as well. And I feel like he's just one of those guys. If they win big games, he has to hit big shots down the stretch.
He's a junior out of Corona, California, in the great Inland Empire. Played at Centennial High School. Wow, was that a long distance dedication there. Bivens with the miss.
And you see there Utah now getting nothing but threes against that Utah State zone.
Looks like it might have been climbing over the back there by Gabe Beeler. They'll hang that one. That's his first personal. The senior out of Antelope, California.
And a pretty small lineup for Utah here, but they can match up with this Utah State lineup. Kind of a similar lineup for both teams. You got Rawson at the 5 for Utah, and you bring Donnie Tillman down into that 4 spot. That's where I think they can make some noise, Utah, is with Tillman against that zone in the middle of the lane.
Last 15 games, 7 have gone to Utah State, 8 to Utah. Looking of the shoulder, and I'll tell you this, you don't have to hear a word. Sam Merrill was disgusted with that call.
Well, and that's, again, the screen call, and it looked right there like that was a good call. Dargington on the other side. Now, look, he's going to... that one may have been a no call, and I can understand the frustration there from Dargington. I thought he may have pushed out the leg, pushed out, again, the chicken wing. I didn't see any of that there.
7-point game. A little bit more than 10 minutes to go in this one. Matt Muehlbach, Darren Sutton, thanks for hanging out with us.
So can Utah get the ball in the paint somehow? Can they touch the paint with one of these passes? They have not gotten it in the paint in about 5 possessions.
Just a tip. I mean, just a little bit of it for Brito.
And now only 5 seconds. I wonder if Utah State matches up in man with these last 5 seconds. I think they will.
Gibbons starts it deep, but that shot clock down to 2. Streaking. Nothing there. Time expired. Shot clock violation.
Well, that's a good call by Coach Duryea on that one to go to the man with 5 seconds, and Utah threw it into the backcourt, so not enough time really to make anything happen, and then obviously shot clock violation.
Isby's got 15 for Utah State. Wynn Taylor's got 22, a career high. That man, the key, starting to get going to start the first half. With assist, then shooting in the second. Isby misses the triple. Another opportunity. He's getting a little crazy out there. Wow.
I'll tell you what, Utah State had some opportunities there. They had some great looks at shots, just could not convert any of those. It was a huge possession, down 7, could have cut that to 4.
Duryea pleading his case. Really, you could have had fouls that could have been hung on either team and got a little bit sloppy. That's not on the officials, that's on the players there. Big Jace Johnson's back in.
And again, as I said, I thought Tillman was a guy they'd bring to the middle, get some paint touches against this zone. Or maybe they bring Beeler around. Beeler's their 3-point specialist, so maybe I think it's going to be Rawson as the guy they try to get it in there and distribute from Rawson.
They got Jace Johnson that time clearing space to catch that pass. And with Johnson, that's 3. Let's see.
He goes in for the tough post up. I don't see anything there. That's not a good call there. They've got to let that go. I know the arm got up initially, but I didn't think the arm created any advantage at all, and then he just did a good job with the lower body creating space.
Both these teams in a scoring drought of more than 2 minutes. And the players starting to get a little bit frustrated with a much more tightly called game right now.
Yeah, it's just slowed down, and we haven't seen that. As I said, kind of midway or at the end of the first half, we haven't seen a missed call yet that entire half. They did a terrific job, but as you said, seems a little tight right now with 7:05 to go.
7th team foul on the Utes, 6 team fouls on Utah State. Front end missed.
And by the way, I looked at the time of night it is. It's 7:05 p.m. and it's 8:44 to go in the game. So I think I looked at the wrong scoreboard, Darren.
That's okay.
You gotta help me out on that one.
I didn't really pay attention to what you said. Don't worry about it. Bibbins penetrates and draws the whistle.
Touche.
You know we kid, folks. We kid because we care.
I mean, here's another one. And so I don't think we've had a possession, 5-6 times in a row without a call here. So
it's a frustrating night, by the way, for Kobe McEwen, who was fouled out of this game. He came in averaging 13 points a game. He fouls out without a point. And that's not him. That's not who the sophomore, the Canadian, that's not who he is as a player.
I'm going to say Kobe McEwen is a possible NBA player. He's got an NBA body. He has tremendous potential. I mean, tremendous. He's the most talented player on this team.
He dropped 20 on BYU.
And didn't score. So, I mean, just nothing going his way tonight.
He has dropped 20 on BYU. He had a big freshman year.
And Tillman, the same thing. And again, the guy we talked about early and his great freshman year so far, and nothing kind of finding him either.
Swung into the corner. Beeler with a nice job penetrating. Coach Kustoviak just imploring his team as they ran through offenses and shoot around and touch the paint, touch the paint. Johnson with the block.
Run. Get it to Johnson. Run.
He's moving the floor. Reaching for a little bit of wind right now, but Johnson ran the floor. Under 8 to go in this one. Utah 9. Bibbins bears it.
A simple set right there. And Perry makes the mistake of going under. Beach State playing against big-time opponents in that non-con every year. Very used to this type of atmosphere.
Scored 870 points in his career with 300-plus assists at Long Beach State. He makes others better, that is what Coach Duryea said. He makes others better. What a compliment. Even though he himself is helping himself out in the scoring column tonight. But it makes sense. He's the kind of player that can have 8 with 8 assists and win a game for you. Or as he's done tonight, take some shots because they've needed some from outside.
When you think about the point guards that Utah has had in the last 4 or 5 years, you have DeLon Wright, Lorenzo Bond, and Bibbins and Brandon Taylor playing that off ball. And a lot of leaders that Larry Kustoviak has had the good fortune to have.
Look out, kid. Chase Johnson up quick. Took a miss there a moment ago in the paint. Up with his left hand. That's a tough whistle to draw there. He stepped firm, and he can be a little bit overly aggressive, but that'll cost him his 4th foul. So now Collette and Johnson both have 4. A quick conversation from his leader and point guard, Justin Bibbins, telling him, we need you out here now. Deangelo Isby makes the first. 2 of 3 from the line. Isby with 16 points and 5 rebounds. The freshman Tillman will come on. Though there is a definite size difference between Johnson and Tillman. Tillman with those long, really long limbs, has a great wingspan, and he's a player, Tillman, that can help with the rebound. So we'll see. This is, again, another opportunity for Tillman to contribute.
Well, and I think an opportunity for Utah, a team that, you know, is trying to move up where they are right now, trying to be kind of that next level team. You're up 10. How do you close this game out with 6.5? They need to close this out the right way, making good decisions, good plays till the end.
Rawson step back. Doesn't get the bounce. Utah State will push it down 10. They've gone 6 minutes, Utah State, without a field goal. 6 minutes. We need that to change soon, and it does.
Nice job. Often do we see pump fakes these days, and pump fakes at work. Job by Perry there.
Hence an old soul, Julian Perry, if we're to listen to Matt Muehlbach. The pump fake, back in vogue. And a great time for it to happen. It's an 8-point deficit. They just needed any kind of bucket. Tillman double, finds Van Dyke.
Well, you could tell he made one earlier tonight, and you could tell actually made 2 earlier tonight, but that one was an important one.
He's got 9.
Deep in the game, they needed that one to answer the bucket that we just saw by Utah State.
Well, you answer with a +1 as well when you drain a triple.
Nice D. And he just didn't recover. Nice move by Isby again.
Isby's got 19 points to go along with 5 rebounds. He's 7 of 11 from the floor. Under 5. He's 3 of 5 from long distance. He had just 10 points in that game. Loss in Indianapolis on Tuesday night to Butler.
I like this lineup right here for Utah State. A lot of shooters, a lot of playmakers, guys that can make things happen. Isby certainly one of them.
Isby thought he was fouled.
Well, we've had a pretty tight whistle the last 5 minutes. I thought that was a good no call. Nice to see him let him play down low.
Hanging around the 4-minute mark to go in this one. 9-point Utah lead. Both teams in the bonus. Shot clock at 5. Lawson thought about it. Loses the handle on the basketball and a shot clock violation.
Well, and I think he over-thought about that.
Well, if those are games that will follow, they'll set the scenes. There's David Collette. It had to be one of them. Right? It had to be one of them at this point. Bivens curious about that call. Isby will go to the line. Actually got Tillman on the whistle that time. That's his 3rd foul. 19 fouls, 7 on Utah State. Pretty stroked on the first free throw, I should say. Isby's second college game at 18 points. He was 4 for 4 from 3. Second college game against Montana State. This has been a career-high night for him. He's gone past that now. 21.
You mentioned it earlier. That just averages around 10 a game, doubles that up. And Taylor
is a nice player, isn't he?
He really is. And he does a lot of different things. He's got a gorgeous jump shot, but he can get to the rim as well and get to the line, which this Utah State team does a lot.
Empty possessions not welcome now for Utah. They can be so painful after waiting all night. And they'll keep waiting for the freshman Donnie Tillman to pitch in, unable to do so. As he misses the 3. And a lid in the bucket. Great effort there by Isby. Just couldn't convert. Under 3 to go.
I kind of wondered here if Utah would just run their stuff or start to think about clock. Up 7 with 2:50 to go. Obviously, they're going to run some clock here, try to bring it down. Utah State going man against this.
Lawson starts high. Had a shot adjusted, didn't find a teammate to share it with. It's 7.
And that's the type of play Coach K will watch, and they will improve on that throughout the year. That is not a good possession for them late in this game.
Scoreless in more than 3 minutes for Utah. Walking bucket. He's got 23. It's a 10-3 run.
Only down 5, and I think they got to run offense here. It's fine to run the clock down, but I'd like to see movement from this team. Larry's going to call a timeout, kind of gather his guys and come up with something here, because they have been really flat on the offensive end. Now, if they run zone, which I'm sure that they're going to do right now, it's hard to tell what they're in. I think they're in the man, so I would just, like I said, really swing it side to side, get it around, get some motion going, and then your end result is Collette down low.
Bivens will go to work, nearly turned it over. Lawson slipped through and he's crushed. Looked like Taylor left his feet and just came right down on top of it. Contact was incidental. It was just a great job by Lawson having a talented athlete leave his feet, and then Taylor just made sure he wasn't going to give up an and one.
Well, it was not only that, if you think about it, and I just thinking on that last replay, Taylor's also looking out for himself. He's up so high, you sort of get out of position and you could get flipped pretty quickly. You're almost being defensive on your own just so you don't get hurt.
It wasn't pretty, but that free throw banged home by the senior out of American Fork, Utah. American Fork High School. The Caveman.
This game by Lawson tonight.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, he's got more upside too. I saw some big time upside earlier.
16 points, 5 rebounds. a painful possession there.
Yeah, that
big for Utah.
Doesn't close it out for sure, but certainly you could see Merrill was frustrated with that shot. He had a really good look on it, just kind of pulled the string on it.
They'll spend a foul. Sam with a quick reach there. Sam has 6 points. He's 2 of 10 from the floor, though. Such an outstanding player, just a sophomore with such a bright future. Van Dyke will go to the line. Uh-oh, Matt Muehlbach. Here comes that stab. He drops it in. That's 10 points. They've never lost. I mean, never lost.
There you go.
When he scores 10 or more. Never lost. Not up in here. Van Dyke with his 10. So Cedric will check back in. Bearfield had a big 3. So Bearfield, when you look at his numbers, you'll see just 3 points. But there was a moment when Utah State creeping back in, and all of a sudden he had the confidence just to end a scoreless drought with a huge 3.
Yeah, a great point. I thought it was the biggest shot of the game to that point. And he needed it, as you said. He's not shot it as well as he can. He's a much better shooter.
8 turns to 6 quickly. 8 turns to 6 very, very quickly. Racing
for this team, and as I said, not putting pressure on him, but he's their best player right now.
Stu Morrill has touched both of these benches, the legendary Utah State coach.
Oh, that's a technical. That's a technical. So that was a great play. What Larry Kraskowiak did is because after a made bucket, you could run the line and you can bring someone under the basket right there, which they did. And then the Utah State player just went in and grabbed it as if he was in bounds, and he knew it right away. Like, hey, I don't think I can do that. I'm not sure what that means. But that's a technical. You can't go across the line and grab it.
Great call out of the timeout. Justin Bibbins drops the first in there. So understandably so, Collette bottling his emotion, using it to
throw that out there, and you see how many people get Larry Kraskowiak, because he is one of the most, I think, top 5 underrated coaches in this country right now.
86-97 in the NBA with San Antonio and Milwaukee, with Utah, with Orlando and the Lakers, and he was a grinder as a player. Got beat up every night. He gets him beaten up himself.
He dished it out plenty.
A lot of time disappeared off the clock before that foul was spent.
Yeah, too much time. What you want to do there is you want to try the quick steal. Obviously, if you don't get it, then you foul.
So follow the bouncing ball, because these West Coast roots will rise above them all. Watch on Pac-12 networks.
The Great Beehive State is alive and well for the holiday season. Zions Bank presents Pac-12 basketball. The Utah Ronin Utes always thinking about March when it's much warmer here. This is an in-state battle. Certainly Utah State comes to visit, and it's been a while since they have met up. Matt Muehlbach, Darren Sutton, glad to have you with us, and certainly glad to be playing in a gorgeous NBA arena, the home of the Utah Jazz, and a man who is off to a start as if he may be headed to the NBA someday, though he's just a freshman. Donnie Tillman is doing what you're not supposed to do when you begin your collegiate career, and that's dominate.
Well,